years, we've called for a genuine clear-out at Manchester United, but this summer, I tell you what, it's actually happened. Let me run through all the exits, the structures of each deal, what they mean, and let's take a look ahead towards next summer, where the clear-out should be able to be completed from this current squad. And make sure you subscribe if you're new for daily United videos. When it came to this summer at Manchester United, I can only speak for myself here, but I was judging Ineos, of course, on the signings that we made. Was it a complete summer? No. Was it a good summer? I think it was. But also on the exits. How ruthless could we be? Would there be an actual overhaul of the squad? Would there be a clear-out? I genuinely think there has been. And I want to run through it in this video, and I want to sort of judge what Jason Wilcox and Omar Barada have done, as our football director and CEO. How happy are you with the exits? Or you can let me know in the chat, because let me give you a quick rewind, right? To run through what's happened in previous summers. So this is 2 years ago, right? In terms of United's exits. Was this the clear out that we needed at the time? Elanga being the biggest sale? No, not really. Henderson, Fred, Kovar, Telles. Wouldn't say there's any real major first team players there. A couple of them you might argue, maybe. Last summer, Scott McTominay being the biggest sale. I still think that was the right thing for United to do at the time. Greenwood, it was given. Wan-Bissaka, that was a good swap with Mazraoui. And then all the other smaller ones there. Let's not talk about Alvaro Fernandez. That'll just annoy me. But then we fast forward to this summer, right? And we see the names that have left, and we see how they have left. Because that's quite important in understanding whether it's been a success or not in terms of the clear-out. Garnacho being top of the list there. Do I think United should have got more for him? I wish that United did. But what United did with the bomb squad was ostracise players for the sake of the dressing room, and as a consequence, probably remove some of their ability to leverage better prices. But they compromised not on the dressing room, they compromised on the prices. They prioritised football rather than the money. And that's something that we've all been asking for a long old time. Anthony, I think, is actually a really damn good deal. Højlund leaving, I think, is the single most ruthless deal that United did. I don't know why he got... Ignore the fact that Lindelof's down there in the bottom left. But Sancho, finding a club for him, getting 80% of his wages covered up to 100% with bonuses included. Fantastic. We needed that. What we did need, actually, was him being sold to Roma. We agreed a deal. He blocked it. That wasn't United's fault. Højlund, as I said, is probably the most ruthless exit we've seen of a player at this football club for a long time. Last season, at the end of it, guarantee he was on everyone's sell list. He was on mine. And this is what I'm going to compare it to, because this was the video that I did a couple of months ago, sort of like the dream window. So we look at the signings. We signed Cunha. We signed Mbeumo. We signed a striker. We didn't sign a midfielder. And we signed a goalkeeper. So the midfielder was the one that's missing. That's why the signings this summer are incomplete in that sense. But look at the sales. I had Rashford down as 40 million. Now, you know that we've actually accepted a little bit of a lower price. I think if you add in the fact that his wages are then covered for another year, that's going to save us probably the best part of 10 to 15 million overall. Add that on top of the 26 million and the option if they take it up. Should total around 40. But that's massive depreciation on the value of Rashford. Garnacho, I had it down as 40. That's actually exactly what it was. But Garnacho should have been more. And the depreciation of players' value is very reflective of our football club. But look at the rest of them here. I had Anthony down as 25. Bang on. Sancho there is 20. He blocked it because he wants to be a free agent. That wasn't on United. Højlund I had down as 30. We've got a 45 million euro obligation, including the loan fee. So it's more than that. And you can see the other four. Right, this is what I mean. It's not a perfect clear out by any stretch of the imagination. But I say this is the best summer clear out that we have had at this football club for a long, long time. Comparing that to the two that we've had previous, it's not just about the amount of money that we brought in, because we actually brought in more money directly last summer. When you add this in and you add in the fact that Højlund's got a 39 million obligation on there, and you add in the fact that Garnacho's got a 10% sell on, and you add in the fact that Rashford should be a 26 mil option, that number will go above 100 mil. But this is what United have done. United have prioritised the dressing room, prioritised what's good for Amrim and his squad, rather than just sitting there stubbornly with players that they'd rather sell. That United didn't want to let Sancho go without sending him on a permanent deal. We came to the compromise. United Didn't really budge on Anthony. I'd say that's probably the best bit of negotiation we did. We got exactly what we wanted there. 25 million euros, 50% of all future sale, and no termination fee. Everything was on United's terms. Rashford was a bad one. That's because Barcelona are skint, and they were never, ever going to get any money for him, given they can hardly register players. And that was the only club that he wanted to join, in the same way that Garnacho and Chelsea was the only club that he was going to join as well. The players held the cards in those regards. But United have definitely gone some way towards doing a clear out. And it's mad that we need to have a clear out of this scale after Ten Hag, but that's kind of how bad his transfers were. And if we take a look towards next summer, these are the players whose contracts run out. As far as I know, I thought Harry Maguire actually extended his contract by 1 year. Was that just for this season or was that next season as well? Don't quite know. But Maguire should be replaced. Casemiro leaving. Only reason Casemiro didn't go this summer, and he was on my dream sell list, I had him down there as 20 mils because nobody was willing to pay the money for him. And also, I don't particularly think he wanted to leave because the money's so high and he wants to stay at the top level for 1 more year. He wants to hold on to his career, doesn't want the swan song elsewhere. And Madasir, we had a move to Elche. We tried to force an obligation in. That didn't work out. He's now here. I imagine he'll probably go out on loan somewhere between now and the end of the window to a Saudi club or a Turkish club if he wants to play football. And then Tom Heaton will probably stay at United in a sort of Johnny Evans capacity. But those four, plus Onana, plus Bayinde, on top of everything that's happened this summer and the players that have gone, I genuinely feel like the club's actually done a real clear out. Quite a lot of the deadwood and a lot of the first team players who simply aren't good enough to be Manchester United players. Because previous summers we've got rid of plenty of players, but they've been fringe players, they've been youth players. You get 1 million here, you get 2 million there. It doesn't really make that much difference to A, the squad, and B, the books. This summer we've done that. This squad has been changed. Now more is needed, right? And there's no point saying Rome wasn't built in a day, because that phrase really annoys me. But truth be told, the amount of overhaul that United needed in this squad was pretty much nigh on impossible to get done in 1 summer. I think from a signing perspective, we needed that midfielder. Amrim knew we needed that midfielder, and Amrim wanted Baleba, and we just didn't have the funds to pay what Brighton were willing to sell him for. But in terms of exits, those players being ostracised from the first team squad created better harmony in that dressing room. Have we seen it translate in terms of results on the pitch? No. In terms of performances, I think we deserve more against Arsenal. We should have scored in that first half against Fulham, and we should have made that game easy against Burnley. Now we've got City next and Chelsea next. 2 big games for Ruben Amorim. But in terms of the overhaul, I'm actually quite happy with what happened this summer. Some compromises were made. Was it the best prices for all of them? No. But those players have now gone. And the squad will be better off because they're not there. And you know what I want to end this video on, right? When it comes to... I'm trying to think of how to articulate this in my head. Because there's going to be people that go, oh, United have made such a mistake in creating the bomb squad and keeping these players separate and away from the first team. And that drove the prices down, and United didn't negotiate that properly. If you do the flip side, right, and all those players, Sancho, Anthony, Garnacho, Rashford, anyone, they were all on the pre-season tour, and they were all part of the squad, they were all in the training photos. Do you know exactly what Ruben Amorim would have been asked every single press conference? Every time that a journalist got an ability to speak to him, it wouldn't have been about how your plan's going. How's training going? It'd be like, what's happening with him? What's happening with him? Pure distraction. And sometimes the value is in something that you don't see. And we didn't hear any of that nonsense. I guarantee the preseason would have felt a lot different if that bomb squad was there. It's just a little point from me.